Okay, recording in progress. And I have just activated live streaming on Facebook. It is in the process of being prepared. So great. I will just have to mute Facebook, because if I don't mute it, then I will just have to see. Yes, that's what happens.
Should be working now.
Should be.
Okay, hello everyone. It's really good to have you all here. Thank you for joining us for another IATEFL Poland webinar. And today we've got our lovely presenter, Lucyna Wilinkiewicz-Górniak, with us. You may be familiar with Lucyna in a different role as our fantastic webinar lady. Today she's going to present. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our presenter today. Lucyna works as a senior lecturer at a Foreign Languages Center at University of Economics in Krakow. And she's also a very active member of IATEFL Poland. She's our regional representative for Krakow area and the coordinator of our webinars. For me, Lucyna is a living proof that lifelong learning is something that can be applied in real life. And it makes a lot of sense in the way she does it. And my impression is that Lucyna encourages her students to follow this path as well. And she will share some of the ideas tonight with us. So the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you, Gosia, for a lovely introductory section. I'm really impressed how wonderful I am. In your eyes. Okay, so now I would like to share the screen with you, and I would like to put my presentation slides in the presentation mode. Gosia, please tell me if it works. Does it work?
Yes, we can see it perfectly well.
Okay, so welcome to the webinar. Today, I will try to share with you some, even my cat has appeared on the horizon, wants to participate in a webinar. Okay, so I would like to share with you the knowledge that I have acquired while preparing my business English students for all kinds of tasks which are assigned to them in the area of written and oral communication. And the very first task that is assigned to any student at any level, be it general English or business English or any other type of English, is to ask the person to present themselves. And this is what this presentation is based, presentation workshop, if you wish to share some of your ideas with me, is based on. So that is the main motto of my professional activity since the very beginning, when I used to teach quite a few kids and quite a few professionals individually, is that preparing our students, whoever they are, for professional success while teaching them English, any kind of English, begins in kindergarten. And so I presented this at the 31st International IATEFL Poland Conference in Poznań. So please remember that IATEFL Poland organizes these annual conferences, and there are many, many fascinating speakers, not necessarily me, but definitely many of them. Okay, so now I'm trying to move on to the next slide, but it doesn't go. So maybe here, yes, I have to click here. So please remember, everybody, I normally put this information in the chat box, but since today I have to concentrate on the presentation itself, I would like to remind you about our webpage with webinars offered and about our YouTube and Facebook channel. One piece of information that I would like to share with you at the beginning of this webinar is that next week's webinar will have to be called off because Susan Holden has some health problems. However, we have already renegotiated the date of the webinar with Susan, and she has promised to have this webinar for all of us in January. So in January, most probably on the 11th of January, Susan will present this webinar to us. Please mute yourselves. This way it will be easier for you to follow. I have a slight problem because I see that in presentation mode you don't see the whole slide. So maybe I will just keep it in non-presentation mode. Yes, and this way you will be able to see all information that is on each of the consecutive slides. So I would like to start by introductory remarks to this idea of compiling professional portfolio, starting with professional profile. I will tell you how I understand the difference between personal professional profile on the one hand and personal professional portfolio on the other. I will define these terms and I will specify their main elements. And then I will compare personal, professional, how they are related. And then I will share with you some of the ideas which can be easily implemented, in my opinion, easily implementable into teaching learning process concerning the use of these two tools, professional profile and portfolio, in the teaching learning process. And I will draw your attention to how to develop it, yes, at various stages of educational career, we might say. And I will also remind you that we have the option between the traditional version, the written version, and the digital profiles and portfolios, which can be used since the very early stages of educational process. So the main assumption, as you have already probably discovered from my introductory section, is that the sooner we make our English learners acquainted with these two tools, the easier it will be for them to present themselves successfully and become recognizable. Yes, so why recognizable? Because while presenting themselves, we will ask them to stress their uniqueness since the very beginning of their language skills development. That is the most important part of it. And I would like you to be aware of the fact that personal, professional profile and portfolio are just two out of the whole range of tools that enable us and our students to present themselves and how unique they are. So whenever they are asked to write a cover letter, any kind of letter, in fact, yes, because at the beginning of professional career, they may be asked to write a letter to their parents, to their grandmother. They present themselves in this written task. Whenever they prepare some kind of speech, yes, they present themselves. So these are just two out of the range of tools which are available here. In section 1, I would like to discuss with you personal professional profile. And as you can see here, there are heaps and heaps of these on all kinds of websites, and all we need to do is just to adapt the template for this particular type of profile to the level of our learners and to their expectations. Yes, so here you have kind of the middle level, yes, name, surname, work experience, education. And so let's start by saying what this personal profile is. A personal profile serves as a way of introducing yourself to job recruiters. That is one of the definitions that I have found about personal profile. However, in this presentation, I understand personal profile more broadly. To me, a personal profile is a way of presenting yourself, be it orally or in the written form, in different contexts. It may be in private life, in professional context. There is some kind of birthday party, and you go there as for the first time, and you have to say something about yourself, and you would like them to be fascinated by you. So you would like to say something positive and something that specifically refers to you, and something that is unique for you. That is very, very important. Sometimes we don't even realize our unique features. And here you have an example of such a profile, very general example. So you have name, brief description of yourself, education, experience, skills, abilities, hobbies, interests, certifications, and many, many more elements. Of course, you know, when I do it with my students, on the checklist, I have a very extensive checklist of these features, and I subdivide the categories into smaller categories, because my observation is that students are, even, you know, at university, students are not aware that certain elements of their professional or even personal experience might be included in the profile. So therefore, a good piece of advice, in my opinion, is to prepare, if you want to teach them this, how to prepare this profile. And I'm sure that each of us teaches that, because each of us asks our students to present themselves at the beginning of any course that they participate in. So we should be interested in making them aware of how unique they are and what is characteristic for them. So the checklist should be really much more than they need, and they tick only the relevant elements for this particular situation. Okay, and here comes another question. How is personal profile related to professional profile? Yes, so professional profile, personal profile, personal professional profile, the classifications vary. I understand professional profile as a way of presenting yourself in both oral and written form in professional context, in order to obtain some goals in your process of professional development. Personal profile, on the other hand, is also a way of presenting yourself in both of these forms, but not only in professional context, because some of the elements of personal profile may be directly implementable into professional context. So, meaning professional profile, in order to obtain some goals. So the goals may be personal or professional. So professional goals, generally speaking, are related to what you want to achieve. If you are at educational stage of your career, then in your education, and then later on in your career, or maybe together, education and career. While personal goals generally are more connected with your health, happiness, relationships, and well-being, but it doesn't mean that these goals do not exist in professional context. So these categories, in my opinion, overlap. Yes, so we can observe different interpretations of these two categories. And in some of these interpretations, personal profile is a broader category involving professional profile also. I look at it in such a way that some elements of a personal profile are characteristic just for this profile, and the same about professional profile. And some of these elements overlap so that we can use them in both areas. Okay, on the next slide, I draw your attention to the fact that personal, maybe I should make it slightly smaller so that you see the heading, because if I don't see the heading, probably you also don't see it. So personal profiles are used at different levels of advancement. And so from A1 all the way up to C2. And here I'm giving you some examples. Yes, so personal profile at kindergarten level. So you have level A1. Yes, it may be oral, it may be written. The level of language is appropriate. So hello, my name is, I'm 5 years old, let's say, I like, I live in, I go to, and so on. So this is the first possibility of creating personal profile at kindergarten level, creating the awareness of children, who they are, and what is unique about them. And if they are asked to prepare something like this, you know, with contemporary technology, they may not only put this written version of personal profile in e-files and paper files, but they can also create a recording of the way they present themselves and also put it in their e-files. So the sooner they start, the better. You know, one reflection that I would like to share with you is that when I was presenting this professional and personal profile, in my presentation, there were the representatives, some of the representatives of regional English language office for American embassy in Warsaw. And they said to me that in the States, it's assumed that children prepare their profiles and their portfolios since the very beginning of their language learning, which is not so common in some other countries, as she observed, and she shared that observation with me. And such is my observation also, that when my students start studies, they kind of are lost. What should be included in their profile? What should be included in portfolio as well? So here is this A1 level where I would like to encourage all those of you who teach at this level to draw the attention of your students to how unique they are and what is characteristic for them, and to be able to present them themselves in an optimistic way that involves also positive body language and so on. Yes, so these are other things that you can also teach while teaching them personal profile. So here now we are moving on to level 2. Yes, so the language becomes more one little step more advanced, and and you have an example here. Yes, hi, my name is, I'm, and so on, and the checklist is longer. Yes, my favorite month is, the most beautiful place in my country is, and so on. Okay, so now let's move on to personal profile in secondary school. This is an example of personal profile, which I took from the website of British Council. Yes, A2 writing skill, writing a personal profile. I encourage you to go there and find some other materials which they have a lot of and which are very useful. Yes, so that is level 2 leading to level 1. Yes, so I have here, this is level A2, sorry, but there is an example of such a profile at level B1 as they develop their language skills. Okay, then we enter the area of tertiary education. Yes, and here on purpose, I have chosen this task of writing your personal profile for when you want to apply at UBC. Yes, at UBC. So here the personal profile is a crucial section in your UBC application. So you have to know how to write it. And then you send it, and then you are you are evaluated. And it says here that this is your last chance to tell us about the things that are important for you, your significant achievements, what you've learned from your experiences, and the challenges you have overcome. Yes. So here you have, as you probably have noticed, you have the 4 categories specified, which have to be included in their in that personal profile. Yes, so if we prepare our students for tasks like this, beginning with reading comprehension, yes, so that they read what is expected of them, and then they know how to reply to this requirement, they will be achieving their goals in their educational career. Okay, so it's our chance to determine, as they say, whether you are a good fit for UBC and if you will receive an entrance scholarship. Yes, so that is a very highly specified goal. Okay, also, why teach these profiles? Because in exams, both in general English and in business English, there is such a section in which you are expected to present yourself. And let me refer you to TELC examination. Yes, in TELC, the European Language Certificate examination, there is, in speaking part 1, you talk about yourself. Yes, so you have to be prepared to say something about yourself in all kinds of situations. Examinations are one of these situations. So this is A1 General English. My name is, I'm 5 years old, I live in, I like, I don't like, my favorite, very basic thing. And this is taken from mock, by the way, these mock examinations are available. So if you would like to use it as teaching material, you can go to that web page and download some of these elements. So this, now we are at level B1 already. Yes, there is mock examination at level B1 for general English. And here the categories are specified. Here, this oral exam takes place in pairs. Yes, so you talk to your partner about the following topics: who you are, your name, where you come from, how long you have lived in this area, and so on and so forth. Details of the family, have you ever been to other countries, and what you do for living. So these are personal topics. But at level B1 in TELC examination, we already have business English version. Yes, so and as you can see, business English version in speaking part 1 involves some of the general categories. So it refers to this idea of personal and professional details overlapping. So you have this these general categories like name, area, and so on, and details of your family. But then comes work experience, training experience, and something about your workplace. And so this proves that this professional profile is a personal profile at the beginning is of key importance. And so people prepare these profiles, and we can find on the internet, we can find all kinds of templates for career portfolios. Yes, like you have this one, Career Portfolio 2025, the cover page. Yes, so every single element can be designed in a very creative way. And the fact that here you have career portfolio, cover page for the career portfolio, doesn't mean that you can't use a similar idea at A1 level with kindergarten children who will be drawing the pictures about it. Okay, I can hear somebody. Please mute yourself. And to reinforce your positive thinking about early implementation of personal portfolio, I would like to draw your attention to this book. The title of the book is Developing and Presenting a Professional Portfolio. Mind you, this is professional portfolio. Yes, not personal portfolio, but professional portfolio in early childhood education. And this is what actually I have been doing with the children whom I have been teaching so far. At the end of every single course, there was this certificate. Yes, certificate of course completion. And they collected those certificates for the courses of English that they participated in, and they put them in their professional portfolio. You know, it has a high motivational value because you see these documents and you can use them in all kinds of situations, in e-version or traditional version. I always tell my students that if they have their professional portfolio and profile in e-version, they can travel around the world, and if they have scans of all kinds of their certificates, then they can apply for a job anywhere they are. They don't have to take anything with them, but they can apply directly wherever they are. So developing and presenting a professional portfolio in early child education, 3rd edition. Yes, so that is a very popular book. Let's move on to how this professional portfolio with your achievements and all kinds of ideas should be developed. So you can have a digital portfolio, and whenever I talk with my students about it, I have this discussion. Yes, so this is just for the lesson plan, ready-made template for discussion. Yes, so digital portfolio allows you to collaborate around the world. Social media helps share your work. Do you save money? Do you have any other ideas? Yes, and then we discuss the benefits of digital portfolio just to stimulate their positive process of thinking about having such a portfolio. Traditional portfolio, on the other hand, shouldn't be rejected because although it does not give you that opportunity, it is very useful and you can take it with you and you can use it in all kinds of situations, even if you don't have your laptop at hand. So that's how our discussions about the options for digital and traditional portfolio look like. And while talking about digital portfolios, I always draw the attention of my students to the fact that it may be of different types. So, and here is one of the possible classifications that I took from Campus Press, as you can see at the bottom. There is this showcase portfolio, which shows the collection of your best work. Yes, so what you are best at. There may be a process portfolio, which shows how you are doing, how you are progressing, moving forward. Or there may be assessment portfolio. Yes, so all kinds of certificates that they have acquired alongside while learning English. Yes, alongside their educational process. But they shouldn't forget about the fact that they can combine these different types depending on the situation. Yes, they are going to use certain elements. Some of the elements will be left, and they can create the so-called hybrid portfolio, making use of the elements of these types of portfolios included here. Okay, let's move on to the basic thing. Yes, so what are the possible elements of personal professional portfolio? So you start with personal information, then there should be, if possible, a career summary and a list of goals. Yes, so what is my career like? What are the list of goals that I want to achieve in my career? Then comes your resume. That is one of the basic elements, CV. And then a list of skills and accomplishments. Yes, so you list out what you have achieved, and if you have relevant certificates for it, then you include them. Yes, so I'm now on the checklist. The two basic elements of personal or professional portfolio should be a checklist of what is included there, and checklist of the main ideas, which you see here. And the other section are the real documents, yes, that prove that you are a good, let's say, that you have expertise in the area of computer science, for example, that you have a clean driving license, and so on. So a list of skills and accomplishments, work samples. Yes, you know, the thing that I always encourage my students to do is I tell them to, wherever they work, I ask them, I tell them that they should ask for some kind of certificate, some kind of summary of what they have been doing and what they did well, especially. Yes, sometimes such certificates are not provided, but it's always worth asking for them. Even if the employer doesn't have time, I tell my students, you may write it yourself, yes, and then ask the employer to cross out the irrelevant sections, and then you rewrite it, and then they sign it for you, and you have it in your professional portfolio. Okay, so a list of continued education qualifications or professional development activities, and then what are my references? Yes, we may say last but not least, all kinds of references that are applicable in this particular situation or not, but they are worth having for future professional goals. Okay, so how does it work? Yes, how do we create? How do we update and develop profile and portfolio? In my opinion, it is an ongoing process. And in my opinion, it's a never-ending process, because even if we are retired, we continue learning new things, yes, in the lifelong learning process. So first of all, whenever I do it with my students, I create their awareness of this profile or portfolio. Then I make them acquire the skills for the preparation of these two documents or sets of documents. So I use the checklist here at this stage that they can refer to, and then they prepare their own main ideas. Once they are ready, they produce. So they present profile and portfolio, and then comes stage 4, which is very, very important, and I try to do my best while at this stage. I evaluate what they have presented to me and to their colleagues, and I try to give them the so-called constructive feedback. I start with positive feedback. I always stress the positive elements, what they are good at, so that later on they can build on these positive elements. And the added value, in my opinion, is this synergy effect that is created while listening to their colleagues. Yes, because sometimes they don't realize that they possess this skill, this feature, this unique feature, we might say, until their colleague presents it. Yes, and then they realize, okay, I'm good at it as well. And then next time, after error analysis that takes place, they improve their these two documents, and then they create a new version. Yes, so they are aware of what should be improved, and they start with the new version, and it never ends. Yes, at every stage it differs. So in the classroom, yes, so here we are in the classroom. We see these happy children who are aware of their uniqueness and want to talk about it with the teacher. Stage 1, awareness. We should begin by making our students aware who they are, what their own characteristics, strengths, weaknesses are. So here you see all about me, yes, all about me topic that is researched at the beginning. Then acquisition. In this stage, students should firstly learn about these two documents, and then they should treat them as the tools to be used by them while describing themselves. So here I have put into this on this slide some of the possible options. When I was doing it with younger children, I always try to inspire them with the color, the layout, the pictures, the content that can be used for different kinds of portfolios or profiles. There may be situations, because as a teacher, we have to be ready for all kinds of options. So there may be situations when our students are not very creative in this area. And then we use, simply speaking, templates help us function in any situation. So if students are not willing to create from the scratch, you provide them with templates, which they develop, update, and so on. So templates are a very good idea. So they have acquired everything. Here are the criteria for evaluation. Yes, because I told you that evaluation has to be very careful and given immediately after presentation stage. So the evaluation criteria refer to the three traditional elements: form, content, and language. Yes, so are students ready to write or talk about themselves clearly, convincingly, interestingly? Is the content relevant, sufficient, interesting, etc.? Is the language used appropriate and correct, and other features depending on the level of advancement? And then we have acquisition, and once they have acquired the skill, you've made them acquainted with, then we evaluate variety of forms which can be used, content, headings, subheadings, elements, language, useful expressions, cohesive devices, conjunctions and connectives, and so on. Okay, so now we are moving on to the stage of production. And at the stage of production, on purpose, I use this star student clip art, as you can see, because every single student, when they start thinking of them as a star, as someone unique, then they produce really something interesting and fascinating. Okay, and now evaluation stage. Is the content interesting, sufficient? Is the form appropriate? Is the language appropriate and correct? But last but not least, what can be improved? And not only what can be improved, but how a teacher should provide the students with the suggestions of improvement. Yes, and the keywords here in this process are metacognition. So they recognize what is at the back of their mind when they produce, reflection on the work that they have done. They should also be able to self-evaluate themselves. And while doing this, SWOT analysis could be one of the tools used. And this way, after self-evaluating themselves, they will be able to specify their areas of improvements and future goals. They will be able to present themselves and their profile and their portfolio, and then they get positive feedback from teachers, and hopefully with the teacher, they celebrate their success. Okay, so the conclusions from what I have just discussed with you are as follows. Knowledge about and ability to create personal profile and or portfolio is a vital element of educational process. Please, at every stage, at the beginning of every year, I do it with my students at university level, and I'm sure that it is worth doing with children at kindergarten level or any other level. Coming back from holidays, they feel that they have learned some new things, yes, and then they can express themselves and add that to their professional portfolio. So they should be included in English lessons since the very beginning and developed depending on the language level, in terms of vocabulary range, syntax, and many other elements, from primary to tertiary education. Yes, and the second set of conclusions is something that I'm sure we are all aware of, that we have this formidable task. We should prepare our students for a competitive future work-life environment and for the jobs which do not even exist. Yes, that's why it's it's even more important to have this awareness of who you are, where you belong, and what are your characteristic features to be able to work in these jobs that have not been created yet, and to be able to switch between the different jobs, because as we all know, probably, the rate of change is really high, and people change jobs in their professional career on the average nine times, as far as I can remember, from one of the researchers that I have analyzed, 9 times in professional career. So if it's like, let's say 30 years, then you can calculate how often on the average you change your jobs. In fact, some of my students have made me aware of the fact that contrary to our generation, who were more afraid of change, they are not afraid of change. Some of them told me that they have already changed jobs, let's say 3-5 times. Well, I had a conversation with one of my students who told me that he is working in some company right now, but in a month, he will be changing his job because he doesn't like this working environment. The atmosphere provided is not for him, and so he is going to change it. So these people are not afraid of change, but therefore they have to be equipped with the tools to make this change. Okay, so we have the need to design and continuously update our own personal professional profile and portfolio. And here you have an example of areas of online exposure which can raise your online profile. And here I would like to comment on how I do it with my students. This is at university level, but it may be implementable at high school level, because the sooner they start being visible on the internet, the easier it will be for them to adapt to all kinds of professional situations. So as far as my students are concerned, they are asked to present at the beginning of the course, they are asked to present their professional profile and professional portfolio, and then they are asked to put the details of their professional portfolio and profile on LinkedIn, yes, or any other social forum if they feel like it. But most of my students are on LinkedIn, and so we do it in such a way that those students who already have a profile on LinkedIn, and there are quite a few of such students at university level, are asked at the first stage to present these profiles to the group. And this way the group, those other students who don't have their professional profile on LinkedIn, get inspired by the other ones, and then they prepare the checklist, and then they are kindly requested to work on their profiles on LinkedIn. And then when they are ready, they present their profiles to the rest of the group. This way, the awareness of professional skills is created and reinforced, but also what is important for future professionals, they are linked with other professionals at their level of advancement. Yes, and I have even observed such situations in which my former students are already, with whom I'm linked as their teacher, are already professionally active, have been professionally active, let's say for 5 years. Some of them present job offers, and I see those job offers and I share them with my network. So these people who are in my network, the younger students, are able to apply for those jobs using the relevant job advertisement. So this is a very, very useful tool. Okay, there is this one more slide. Here is an example of professional portfolio. And here, for the Horizon group, and here there is an example of how important they are, these tools, because professional development should be associated with personal development, and people need both. And this is what the founder and CEO of Human Workplace, Liz Ryan, keeps repeating to whoever is linked with her. So I also would like to encourage you by showing you this picture to encourage you to link with Liz Ryan, because she has a lot of very interesting articles concerning human workplace. Yes, that's so the workplace which takes into consideration human beings, we might say. Okay, there is also at the end, there is also a set of two links. Yes, so this is the link that I have already been using for a long time. It used to be partnership for 21st century skills. Why is it so important? Because here you have a very useful checklist of the skills that you can present to your students and discuss with them how they refer to them personally. And this way they compile the checklist of the skills that they possess. That used to be partnership for 21st century skills. Now it's Batele for kids. But even if you write partnership P21, you will find this website. And here you have, this is the general diagram, but this general diagram is split into specific categories, and under each specific category you have a checklist of skills which are relevant for this category. So it's very useful in my teaching process, because this way I can stimulate my students to think about themselves in terms of professional skills. And there is another one, 50 of the best personal website and portfolio examples in 2022. So that is also relevant here. Okay, at the end, I'm sharing with you my bibliography. So if you want to take a photo of this, you are more than welcome. Preparing English Learners for Work and Career Pathways. It's available in PDF, so you can upload it immediately. Education and Learning for the Modern World. That was a survey of education and skills, and they produced a report in 2019, and there were very interesting conclusions and recommendations. Then the European Language Portfolio, a guide for teachers and teacher trainers, also very useful. Then Promoting 21st Century Skills, and then Global Skills, Creating Empowered 21st Century Learners, Oxford University Press, also a very interesting source of information. And last but not least, Supporting English Language Learners in Kindergarten. So since the very beginning, in PDF version. So this much about the ideas that I wanted to share with you. Thank you for your attention. And here you have my email addresses. The second one is my school email for Cracow University of Economics, where I work. And the first one is my Gmail address, which I use for generally speaking, for IATEFL, yes, IATEFL and other professional activities. Okay, so I will close the presentation slides right now. I will stop sharing them with you. And before I forget, in the chat box, I will put certificate attached, because I have it in my files. So I have to do it on my own. Let me find the certificate. And in the meantime, if any of you have anything that you would like to say concerning these two tools, the way you use them, I will be more than happy to be inspired by you. So do you have anything, that any kind of knowledge that you would like to share with you, with all of us? Anybody? IATEFL certificates, I found it. Yes, I'm uploading the certificate. So the certificate has been uploaded. Yes, can you see it? Say yes, or show that you can see it.
Not yet, probably.
Not yet, okay. Ah, I know what. I sent it directly to Victorina. So Victorina has already got a certificate. Thank you, Gosia, for being with us, because otherwise I wouldn't discover this. So just one more try. And now I'm sending it to everybody present in the meeting. Yes. So right now you should be able to receive it.
Yes, it is there.
Okay. So I was really hoping for some discussion. That's why I reserved time at the end of this presentation, so that I don't dominate you too much. And I was hoping that maybe some of you would like to say something. Thank you, not yet. It would be useful to have in the presentation, Okay, very well. So let me see. The presentation is on the desktop. Let me see if I don't have any, because you know, whenever I prepare my presentations, I drag with the presentation slides also additional content. Yes, so the ideas that I wanted to include in the presentation but eventually didn't include, so I have eliminated those irrelevant elements. Okay, and now I'm going to my desktop.
Maybe in the meantime, Tamari would like to join the discussion. So
yeah, Tamari, go ahead. Nice to see you.
Good evening. First of all, let me greet you and thank you for very interesting presentation, because you brought so very interesting and useful ideas to teaching business English, business communication, dear Lucyna. And I will definitely try to incorporate maybe during this term, because personally these profiles are really important, because when I teach, for example, business communication, we are at the same time trying to equip our students with job searching skills at the same time, but profile is always good idea. And I wanted to ask, do you think that personal profiles can help them to create their personal brands as well? Because sometimes when students are kind of invited to job interviews, especially they need to have their personal profile, and I think these tools will help them. And what is your opinion about this? Can you just comment?
Of course, because you know, once they compile this personal profile or professional profile, whichever name you want to use, they are aware of their unique selling features, yes, unique selling points, and they are ready to talk about it. You know, the more you ask them to reflect on themselves, who they are, what they do, the readier they are for professional development career, yes, for professional development and for career. Yes, that's very, very, very important. Yes, so I agree with you. They should be reminded about it. They should be like, you know, I also use a questionnaire, yes, a questionnaire which specifies the goals of every single course. Yes, and this questionnaire is given at the beginning of a given course, and then they tick, they read, so is able to present a well-prepared professional presentation, is able to write a scientific article concerning some of the contemporary global issues. And if they go through the contents of such a questionnaire at the beginning of the semester, in the middle of the semester, and at the end of the semester, they are aware of the changes, progress they have made, but they also repeat what they could be good at, and they have ready-made phrases to use when they go to a job interview or in all kinds of professional situations, even at a party, yes, when they talk to their business party, they talk to their colleagues and they present themselves, yes. So that's very useful, because this is in a way imprinting, yes. They already know what to say, what structures they are going to use when they present themselves. Yes, that's a very, very vital question. Okay, so now I'm searching for my yes, here are the slides. Yes, so the slides have also been uploaded. Yes, so whoever wants to use them, feel free to use them. And Tamari, I wanted to say one more thing to you, because at a conference that we had over the weekend between the 11th and 13th.
Yes, I know.
I presented this specifically, I presented these two tools specifically for business students. And if time allows, I want to have a webinar about that too. Yes, so
It
whoever.
would be great, very useful for my students as well, because I also teach business communication, business English. It would be great. So take away, because I wasn't able to attend this great event, basic, so business English IATEFL group. Thank you very much, Lucyna. This was a good compliment, yes, for those who have not been able to be present at so Gdańsk conference. Hope to see you soon.
Great, great,
And
great. Thank you for saying
wish
this.
you peace also to Poland and to Ukraine, both of you.
Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, for Ukraine, fingers crossed, and for the, because it refers, in a way, it refers to the whole world.
Absolutely.
Okay. I see Natalia is with us as well, just wishing peace as well. Yes, Natalia, you're right. Anybody else who would like to say anything, just to share some positive emotions and feelings before we leave this room?
Me.
Victoria, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanna say thank you to you, because even if I'm from Mexico, I always try to reach your conferences, because I found them very useful in my teaching work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You make
Yes.
me happy with such positive feedback.
Of course. So I'm your fan.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other reactions? I can hear that somebody would like to say something but can't speak. Yes? Maybe you should turn on your microphone or put up the volume, because I hear that somebody is saying something, but I can't hear exactly what they are saying. Not possible, not possible. You may write it in the chat box if we can't hear you. Yes. No, doesn't go. Okay, so I'm still checking the chat box. I would like to thank you all for being here. We've had quite a team, yes, 40 plus people, 45 at this moment. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your presence here. And let's say goodbye. Time to say goodbye.
Thank you so much.
When is it gonna be the next session?
Okay,
When are you guys gonna have it?
Thank you for asking. I will provide you with the link to IATEFL, I'm searching Poland webinars. You know, normally I provide you with the link to the next webinar. Yes, but this time the next webinar will be, wait a minute, on the 30th of November. So just a moment. I will find the link to that webinar. So this is the direct link to IATEFL webinars. Yes, I have just pasted this link, and the link to the next webinar, which will take place in 2 weeks' time. So here, okay, that will be to me a very important webinar. I hope to you as well. How hemodiversity benefits your students' health. So simply speaking, catering for different characters, yes, that will be Professor Lucyna Wilinkiewicz-Górniak, and the link to, so here is the link. I have just placed the link to this webinar. Now let me copy the registration link. So registration, and you can register for this webinar. Register at. Okay, and now registration link, right? Okay, So you have, thank you for asking. Yes.
Lucyna, could you check if you've sent it to everyone, because I can't see.
Oh my goodness, again, I've sent it directly. Okay, so I am copying it, register. Gosia, thank you for being with me. Okay, I suddenly switched to one person. Okay, so register link, sent to everybody. Yes, I'm letting someone wants to come back to us. Okay, register to the webinar.
Great, thank you. I got it.
Okay, very well. So I'm paying. You can register immediately so that you don't forget about it. Okay, and the final register to the website with webinars, right? Website where you have all the announcements about all the consecutive webinars. Yes, so the website is the last thing. Okay, got it. We got it. All right. So now we can finally finish the webinar, hoping that everybody will stay connected with us. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Gosia, for your support. Without it, I wouldn't have done it properly. Thank you. Bye, everybody. See you next time.